Oh, that
Holy
was
fuck, that was nice. The snow camo, which I'll do all that at the same time as the camo netting. Oh, Christ alive, lads.
Oh boy, I really need to do the shopping for my house. I am so out of bloody antacids, it's not even funny, and oh, those wings are kicking my ass. And my throat. And my heart. And everything.
More so your ass, but yeah.
No, that's gonna be later on, I can tell you. You know when you eat something spicy and you're like, this is really, really good. I am gonna pay for this later.
Yep,
Oh, yeah.
all the time, almost every day.
Beth's just in the house and you just hear this high pitched screaming and she's just sitting there going, yep, hit the second stage.
Pretty much. That's pretty accurate.
Buddy that I work with, it's like all the time he always tease about, he just loves torturing his asshole because he just eats spicy stuff all the time. And
It's
now
so
that he's
good.
getting older, it's like he's 35 now. He's like, man,
yeah.
I can't fucking do this all the time anymore.
Yeah, brother's got to slow down or his body's going to make him.
Well, it also just like kind of screws up your inside a little bit if you have too much of it, eh?
Yeah, it'll mess up your stomach lining.
And you hear about people who've never eaten, say, chili before in their life, and they go straight to like a Carolina Reaper, and they pass out from it and end up in fucking hospitals.
Jesus Christ. Weak.
So usually a group of like white girls on TikTok or like YouTube Shorts that do that, and it's hilarious to watch.
Oh my God, Stephanie, try this.
Also, I also watched a guy. He put a dried Carolina Reaper in his bong and tried to.
Oh.
Yeah, that was funny to watch.
I bet it was.
Why?
It's like, hey, guess what? It burns to breathe now.
It's like, idiot.
You look at him and go, what was going through your mind at that time?
I don't even think bro knows.
Probably
Or like
not.
that one guy who drank bleach on YouTube and like threw up blood. Did you guys ever see that back in like 2012?
Don't think so.
Don't think I did.
Yeah, it was like drinking bleach challenge when all those like challenges were going on. And
Oh,
this
like
guy did it.
during the Tide Pod challenge stuff.
Yeah, it was before the Tide Pod one, but yeah, it's essentially that time frame. And he threw up blood right after, and then kept drinking bleach. It's like,
you guys remember the hot coil
stupid.
challenge?
The what?
No.
The hot coil challenge, where people that have like the old school electric ovens with the coil, and they would get it fucking red hot and then put their hand or their arm on it.
What the fuck? I was never big into all those challenges things.
Yeah, I wasn't either.
Which is weird because I was like
an idiot.
Like, well, okay, I mean partially yes, but not for that reason. I was a fucking young teenager, so it's like you would think that would have been my time frame, but I was like, these people are stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, say it's the guy who went into the Marines at 18. I mean,
actually, I went when I was 20, but I tried going at 18. I tried going at 16, actually. So yeah, you get a point.
You wanted that.
I did, and then yeah.
And then isn't the Marines just basically like, in a nutshell, like internet challenges, but as a job?
Only on the weekends because people get fucked up. Like like Val was asking some stuff about because he's joining the Bundeswehr, and he was like, "What's some weird things that happen?" So I told him about how like when you go to the field, if you've got like kind of shitty seniors, they'll make you and another new guy go to a porta john and have a contest. And whoever wins, whoever finishes first, fucking doesn't get fucked up. But the other guy, who is forced to finish anyways, has to get fucked up. This shit sounds horrible, but it was entertainment when you're stuck in the desert for 4 months.
Well, that story's in the recording, and I'm not sure if that should stay in the recording.
Hey, we need
Yeah.
more Patreon shit. So,
And on that note, I might just bleep it out, but then put the uncensored version on Patreon.
yes,
Yeah.
please do.
On that
You're
note,
welcome.
Unfortunately, this is the Micro Machines podcast where you learn some stuff, and you don't want to learn some stuff, but you still learn some stuff.
Hi, I'm the problem.
Always against your will.
Oh, I'm sure there's something. I'm going to have to read the legal terms and conditions on that one for the YouTube. But anyway, welcome to the Micro Machines podcast. This week we'll be talking about the Messerschmitt BF-110, the world's best fighter in the world. But before we do
Excuse me. We've already done the world's best fighter, and it was a Corsair. Okay, sit down. Know your place.
But
So, how does it feel to be wrong all the time?
I don't know. Are you talking to the mirror right now? I'm just joshing. Let's get into it.
So before we get into the BF-110, we should probably do some introductions. So, of course, you've got me, Callum, filling in for Dennis for doing the intros because he's got work. Nerd. And I'm sitting here in a very, very warm New Zealand where it's pissing and down with rain, but it's really, really muggy and humid and unpleasant. Yep.
Oof.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
it's that nice combination.
Oh, sounds like it. Well, you got me, Garrison, out here in Kansas. It's like fucking 50 degrees. It's nice. I'm down in the basement working on a nice little building, which you'll see later, drinking a coffee.
Nice. And you got me, Clint, out here in Indiana. It is currently a nice balmy 24 degrees Fahrenheit with snow on the ground.
Lucky
And
bastard.
I have a nice bottle of water.
No Pepsi.
I'm out of Pepsi.
We literally just changed your name in the Discord.
I drink more water than I do Pepsi, my man. So.
Well, that's not what you say.
So does that mean we're going to have
Sorry.
water? Does that mean we're going to have a water boy with pool boy in the server now? Oh, little update on old pool boy. He finally got his driver's license after the 7th attempt.
Wait, who's
He
this?
SpongeBob that shit.
Who is
pool boy? He
Pool
was Riley, one of my co-workers. He was my assistant out on the site, and he failed his restricted driver's license. So he's still going to get his full one, in about a year. But 7 attempts to get his restricted license, and he finally got it.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
You were right. He did SpongeBob that shit.
Yep. All right. So we're going to be talking about the BF-110, but I won't be talking about the BF-110. In fact, Clint is going to be talking about the BF-110 because he likes German stuff and is weird. So, Clint?
Yes, both. Yes.
The floor is all yours.
The accuracy is on point tonight, gents.
Exactly. It's like, just like Garrison enjoys being wrong all the time. Alright, so the Messerschmitt BF-110 Zestroy, or Destroyer. Let's go ahead and click to the next slide. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, red dream for Hermann Göring.
You would never believed he was a transvestite.
What? Oh, Jesus.
I think there's a joke or a rumor about Göring being a transvestite.
I've never heard that one.
How does it feel to know our ancestors were that way, Clint?
A little sad. I'm just trying to figure out how this man ever got in an aircraft. He must have been very skinny during World War I. Because they'd have to shoehorn him into that damn thing.
Hey, Göring, why is your biplane so round?
Got that extra comfortable cab.
He'd only ever be able to fit in, say, D5 Albatross. The ones that's just a round tube, just so he can fit in.
Still barely. He probably wouldn't be able to reach all the controls.
Oh, he definitely affected the center of gravity.
Oh, for sure. He's
Who's-
got like grab handles up and shit. He's got to grab to turn his body to hit certain controls.
What's the huge, like, 6-engine cargo plane they had? With the 323?
Oh, the Gigant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
323. I think even that would struggle. Anyway.
The BF-110, a red dream for Hermann Göring. It began in 1934 with the Sorry, I
You
can't
got
talk right now.
this.
With the what now?
With a specification from the RLM for a destroyer, or a bomber and destroyer, a twin-engine fighter bomber, in a way, that should have the equivalent speed to a single-engine fighter, but with considerably more range and firepower. Of course, it was a favorite design of the Reich Marshal here, Mr. Göring. The Messerschmitt BF-110 was a sleek, twin-engine heavy fighter with a top speed of almost 350 miles per hour,
Holy shit.
slightly faster than the single-engine Hurricane and almost as fast as the Spitfire of its time.
That's actually insane.
That's it. Yeah.
The outcome was a design produced by Willy Messerschmitt, here on the right, who was the chief designer for the Bavarian Aircraft Works, and that was why this aircraft... Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, he looks like he could fit in an aircraft.
Oh, yeah. He designed many of them. Let's see. Oh, that's why this aircraft was given the RLM designation of BF, since the company wouldn't become Messerschmitt until 1938. Only aircraft designed by the company after this time were given the ME designation.
It's a lot. One thing a lot of people get like confusing is like you see people call their 110 and the 109. Like, is it the ME 109 or is it the BF 109? And at that point, is it more just like your preference?
I mean, like I said, it's like Messerschmitt was working for the Bavarian Aircraft Works, or Bavarian Flugzeugwerk.
Yes, that works.
German. So that's where we get the BF, the Flugzer. Bavarian
You mean
Flugzer.
best friend?
I guess that's why the 262 isn't called the BF 262 then.
Exactly, because it was produced by Messerschmitt.
I'll still call
1938.
I'll still call the 109 and the 110 the BF. Just can't help it now.
No, definitely.
Old habits die hard.
Just like Goering.
I can't stop eating the sauerkraut.
It's so good. Alright, let's next slide, please. Alright, the V1, V2, and V3. This was the V1 here. You can see the early style canopy. And of course, no armaments in the nose.
And what?
Yeah.
So, what was this? Originally called? Because this is probably during the time where the Germans were not so keen on actually telling the rest of the world what the plane was designed for. It was.
From what I've gathered, it was just called the BF-110 V1.
Okay, so it wasn't like designated as, say, a mail carrier, which was like code for reconnaissance or something like that.
No, it wasn't. At least not from any of the research I could do. I've got about 6 books on the BF-110 that I've been going through to put this together, and also
6
wiki
books.
and some other stuff.
Garrison, we need an intervention.
Hey, Clint, I know you really like these, buddy, but I think it's time we put them down.
we think you have a problem, and it's this is coming from a place of love.
There's this wonderful group down at the local chapel that meet every week. Okay, we'll go with you if you want.
Anyway.
The design produced by Messerschmitt was for a sleek, all-metal cantilever monoplane with twin rudders and a stressed alloy skin. Power was to be provided by a pair of the newly developed Daimler-Benz DB600 engines. each producing around 900 horsepower, which is just blistering at the time. And it was also a
Zooming.
V12.
That's cool.
Flight testing of the first prototype began in May 1936, and the new aircraft proved easy in flight and in early trials achieved a speed of over 315 miles an hour.
Holy shit.
Let's see. The V2 completed on the 24th of October 1936 also used two Daimler-Benz DB600 engines, and it was assigned directly to the Luftwaffe test center at Reichland. Test pilots were pleased with its speed, but disappointed in its maneuverability.
What,
the
you
V3
mean
I
lack
mean,
of?
yeah, look at it. Look at it.
Yeah. The V3 was the same airframe as the V1 and the V2, but it was intended as a weapons testing aircraft and had had different noses to change out to test different armaments. Not really sure what armaments was all tested on these original ones, but when we get further along, we can get into what the A model had. Right, next slide.
Looks very soft, the V versions, doesn't it?
Mm.
Yeah, especially with nothing in the nose.
Yeah, I mean, it does look cool. I'll give it that. I mean, like all those the German V marks, like the 109, the 110, or their early prototype ones. I would love to have a model of something like that. The earliest ones.
How do we know you're going to say that?
Oh, I'm anyway.
Especially like some Spanish Civil War, like 109s.
Oh
Yes,
shit!
yes,
I would
yes.
love to do a whole bunch of Spanish Civil War German aircraft, like the Condors, Heinkel HS-123, early like the BF-109, like B and C and D they used. Yeah, I'd love to do all those.
Of
Anyway.
course, the V series was powered by the DB600 engine. The RLM set out requirements in the early 1930s for an engine to drive the latest generation of aircraft in the Luftwaffe's arsenal. DB600 was the first variant of the liquid-cooled inverted V12. It had a displacement of 33.9 liters. The AB models produced 986 horsepower at 2,400 RPMs at sea level. The DB600C and D was used in the Vs, producing slightly less power at 838 horsepower, but the power was available at 2,250 RPMs.
Seems
Next
weird
slide.
having inverted engines, doesn't it?
Not really. Most of your aircraft engines end up being inverted.
That was something I only learned recently, which makes sense. I mean, I only learned recently how they managed to do the whole machine gun or cannon firing through the propeller boss.
How
Yeah.
did they do
Yeah,
that?
it just went right through the center of the engine, right through
Yeah.
the drive shaft.
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't know why I didn't know that.
Well, I just
I think
learned
it
that,
had something
so-
to do with oil pumping through. It's easier to pump oil through an inverted engine in the air.
I think there's something like that. Anyway, shite monologue along. Let's get into the A's.
All right, the AO. The initial deliveries of the
AO.
BF-110.
Sorry, I had to.
I know. The initial deliveries of the BF-110 encountered severe delays with the DB600 engines, which forced them to install the Junkers Jumo 210B engines, leaving the BF-110 seriously underpowered and only able to reach a top speed of 268 miles an hour. Armament consisted of 4 fixed MG-17s, which is 7.92 millimeters, which is your 8 millimeter Mauser.
Yep.
And these was in the nose with one movable MG-15 8mm Mauser machine gun in the rear cockpit canopy. And you can see it still has the old style glazing.
And the nose as well. It's got that more bulbous rounded nose than the sort of sharper ones you can see later on, eh?
Mm-hmm. And of course the pre-war insignia on the tail.
Oh yeah. Look at that.
So.
I wonder how good the MG-15 was as an actual flexible mount. Because you've only got a 75 round dual mag on the top, haven't you?
Is it on the top or is it on the side? I think it's on the side.
I thought it was a top feed.
I know the 20mm cannon's a top feed.
Yeah, I have a feeling the MG-15 it had the twin snail type drums, and it just slapped on the top with and it fed into the middle.
Oh yeah, you're right. It did,
Yeah.
and it fed towards the middle.
Yeah, and you had the two sides rotate, changing either side to feeding on either side into the one sort of port. Because didn't the MG-15 have an insanely high rate of fire?
It wasn't. I mean, it wasn't as fast as the 38 or the 42, but
yeah, but was it? I'm sure. Hang on, I need to search this up because I'm sure it was fairly. It has a fairly high rate of fire, just because engine defense, aircraft defensive armament do better as a high rate of fire, and just sort of dump a whole lot of lead into a certain area.
Unless it's like the 34 and the 42, the 42, where you can switch the rate of fire. I've seen footage from them strafing Russian units on the ground from the nose, and it really wasn't too fast.
MG-15 rate of fire 1,000 to 1,050 RPM.
Ah.
Yeah,
can you switch the rate of fire?
I don't think you can, because I think you see how it's got the shoulder pad thing there. I have a feeling that turned up later in the war when it was converted into an infantry weapon because they were running out of things. They had a ton of MG-15, so later in the war they'd stuck a bipod and a shoulder stock onto an MG-15. I think originally they just had hang on, where's their thing?
We're out of aircraft and 42s. Take the 15s.
I think it was cut off here, and that was the aerial. And then when it turned into an infantry weapon, they stuck a shitty shoulder stock on it and then put a bipod. I think you can see it right there. Oops, but yeah, they tried to turn that into a last-ditch infantry weapon.
The B series, the first production version, the BF-110B1. Began to be delivered in very limited numbers to the first newly created destroyer units in the autumn of 1938. Aircraft was initially designed for a crew of 3, a pilot, navigator, and radio operator and rear gunner. However, in service, most of the early BF-110s carried just 2 crew, the pilot and the radio operator who doubled as the gunner. As the DB600 engines continued to have problems, they were forced to keep on using the Jumo motors, but now the new 210G Jumo, which supplied 720 horsepower. 3 versions of the BF-110B were built. The B1, which had 4 7.92 MG-17s, and 2 20mm MG-FF cannons. The B2 was the reconnaissance version, which had a camera in place of the cannons, and the B3, which was used as a trainer, with the cannons replaced with extra radio equipment. Only 45 BF-110Bs were built before the Jumo 210G engine production line ended, and the major identifier of the A and B series was the very large radiators under each ring. So you can see in this picture. Kind of looks like the Ju-88.
Well, that went more closer to the Heinkel HE-111. I don't think the Ju-88 had. I think they had they were.
That was radials. You're right.
Yeah,
Heinkel. And we get to the C series.
Ew.
In late 1938, the DB601B1 engines became available finally. With the new engine, the design teams removed the radiators under the engine nasals and replaced them with water glycol radiators for the C series airframes, placing them under the rings just outboard of each nasal, otherwise similar in installation, appearance and function to those of the BF-109E. So you can see now it's under the engine, we no longer have them big radiators, but instead now they're got the ring-mounted ones like the 109s. With the DB601 engine, the BF-110's maximum speed increased to 336 miles per hour, with a range of 680 miles, and 910 horsepower. And that's, per engine.
How long a flight time is that?
Range of 680 miles.
That's pretty good.
Pretty far, yeah.
That's 5 hours?
4 to 5 hours cruising, probably. A small oil cooler and air scoop remained under each engine nasal, which that's what just the little opening under the engine is now. And these was there for the entirety of the production run. The new DB601 engine used direct fuel injection, which was the think, the first engine in an aircraft to ever use fuel injection. This gave it a huge advantage over the early versions of the Rolls-Royce Merlin, because in a lot of dogfight situations, the carburetor float bowl would run dry, starving the engine of fuel.
Awkward.
Well, especially if they tried to do a nosedive or something too quick, you can hear it sort of cut out, or they couldn't go inverted or anything like that. So
See, we had the C1, which it was had the same armaments as the B series, except it now has the 601 engine. The C2 was fitted with just upgraded radios. It went from the FUG-3, which is the one down on the right, to the FUG-10, which is the one next to it that we commonly see in model kits of the BF-110. The C3, it had an upgraded cannon from 20 millimeters to 30 millimeters.
oof.
Nice.
The C4 was an upgraded crew armor, mostly for ground attack. There was the C4B, which is a fighter bomber based on the C4, fitted with a pair of ETC 500 bomb racks and upgraded 601 BA engines, which I cannot find how much horsepower was upgraded to. The BA did have a little bit more horsepower from the regular 601 line. The C5 was the reconnaissance version. Both of the cannons was removed and an RB50-30 camera was installed. That's what we got here in the center. The
That's a big
C6 was an experimental with an addition of the 30mm Mach 101 cannon and an under fuselage mount, and it also had the DP601P engine, which again I cannot find just how much horsepower that was, but it was upgraded horsepower. And then lastly of the C series, we had the C7, which was a fighter bomber based on the C4B with two of the ETC 500 centerline bomb racks, capable of carrying either two 250-pound, 500 or 100 kilogram bombs, and the upgraded DB601 engine. And it was variants of this version that would see combat for the first time with varying degrees of success during the opening stages of World War II.
I love that. Success until things got difficult, really. Right? It's like going through the European countries, yeah, it's fine, and then they hit the Royal Air Force and it's like, yeah, we're not good.
It's really that it really wasn't that they was underperformed, it's just the role that they was forced to play.
Yeah. I mean, as a ground attack, it does really well.
Oh yeah. Well, even as a fighter, it did pretty.
They were just easy to shoot down as well.
And again, that was because of the role that they was forced to be in. It's like they was forced to be in a close support role with the bombers, so they could only fly as high and fast as the Ju-88s were flying.
I gotta say, that C5 reconnaissance one on the top right, that camo scheme looks awesome.
Yeah, it goes
pretty
hard.
I don't know how you'd paint it, but
Swirlies.
well, it kind of looks like, up at the top you got just solid. Looks like it'd be like splinterish.
Yeah, it's splinter on top, then
and then it goes mottled down to
bottom.
Yeah, and then it's whatever that color is. It looks very, very weathered and dirty.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, those panels look very stained, which pleases me.
I'm not sure if that's
colorized
not
photo
true.
or
aircraft photo.
Aircraft don't get dirty, Callum. Okay, get your facts right.
I wonder, looking at this, right, the canopy, to get in a bailout situation, I wonder what you're supposed to do. Like you got the top that goes up, but then you got to try and climb up above the bit that falls to the side, or do you have to try and open the whole thing? Because trying to open this, push something to the side when you're in a slipstream is reportedly very difficult. One reason the BF-109 pilots didn't like the canopy was because it swings out to the side. You're trying to kind of push it against another force that's pushing against it one way.
Mm-hmm.
Just wonder, I wonder how this one would be like. I guess
they are smaller, so maybe it'd be easier.
Yeah, I mean, my guess is you'd probably just open the top one and then just flip upside down.
Bon voyage.
I'm sure as soon as you crack the top one, the wind speed just throws it back.
They'll just disappear.
Breaks it. Snap, fuck it, we don't need it anymore anyways.
Yeah. I will say I'd love to get a decal sheet for this one, just because also the nose art just looks cool.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out that it looks kind of like a fox.
It's like a fox and a little devil, or
Yeah,
maybe it's a hog. Yeah, it looks like it's got like little tusks there. I don't
it could be.
Start on the ground.
know. Looks cool though. I like it. I will. One thing for the BF-110, their nose arts and stuff like that looked freaking awesome.
Oh yeah.
Like at least they got something right.
They're German. They got a lot of shit right.
Unlike many of the other Luftwaffe aircraft, the BF-110 was not used during the Spanish Civil War. Seen in combat for the first time during the joint German-Russian invasion of Poland in September of 1939. Hermann Göring reportedly ordered the destroyer units to make all the Luftwaffe's BF-110s available for operation. According to the Luftwaffe Order of Battle, a total of 102 BF-110s were used in the September campaign, with a loss of about 10 aircraft.
Oh,
Polish
that's actually
pilots
pretty
were-
good odds.
Oh, yeah. Polish pilots were unfamiliar with the 110 and often identified them as bombers. Future ace and commander of the night fighters units, the Notjagd Schrader 1, Wolfgang Fock, scored his first kills over Poland. Fock's unit, which was ZG-76, claimed 31 kills during the campaign. And LG-1 also contributed, escorting German bomber formations on attacks against Warsaw. The unit claimed 30 kills on the first day. Polish fighter units reported a 17% loss rate on this day. This rose to 72% loss rate in 5 days.
Jesus.
JGR-2 also claimed 28 aerial victories and 50 ground victories during the first 5 days.
Holy fuck.
Yeah.
They were just clapping cheeks.
Oh, yeah. But you have to remember, they was going up against, biplanes and crap like that.
Yeah, that's fair.
If they're in
That would've
Poland,
been
there would have been the PZL-24, which is like wasn't a very good fighter. Well, let's face it, it's a monoplane with a high wing, which is more better for stability, not aerobatics.
Yeah.
Could you imagine how fun that shit would have been? It's like shooting fish in a barrel, essentially.
Pretty much.
It's like,
Then, of course...
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead.
It's like, does this really count? It's like a bit like Ju-87s later in the war, when it got to the point, like even in the Battle of Britain, they were shooting them down so often that it's like one doesn't even count as a kill, which is like insulting to the guys who are like flying and dying in them, even though they were German.
Yeah.
It's like, well,
Right.
still, it's like, yeah, you got to be a little bit like, really.
It's like, bro, they heard Hans crying on his way down to the fucking Earth. Okay, it's a kill.
And of course, after Poland, that's when England and France declared war on Germany, but for some reason didn't declare war on Russia. Which you have to think, why are they so pissed off that Russia's invading Ukraine now, since they didn't care about Poland? But that's a different episode.
Now we want people to. Now it's reversed. Now we want people to invade Poland just to see what happens.
Right.
Fucking ironclad and wishing a motherfucker would.
Most of the units protecting Western Germany from aerial attacks were equipped with the BF-109, but one of the BF-110 units assigned to air defense in this sector was LG-1. On the 23rd November of 1939, the BF-110 claimed its first Allied victim when LG-1 BF-10s engaged and shot down a... Okay, this is some French plane. Maran Soliner MS-406.
Doesn't count.
The Moron Solna.
Maran Soliner... Okay.
That's the
Doesn't
plane.
count, they're French.
That's the plane I built for my North Africa.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Then I know what that looks like now. And it was part of the Armée de l'Air over Verdun. And then just 3 weeks later, on 18th December of 1939, BF-110 participated in the first German victory over the British in World War II. RAF Bomber Command sent 22 Vickers-Wellington bombers to attack the German naval base at Wilhelmshaven. Despite help from BF-109 units, it was the BF-110 which excelled in the bomber-destroyer role. By the end of the fighting, the Germans had claimed 11 Wellingtons destroyed and 6 damaged. Some sources
Nice.
claim a 12th Wellington was also destroyed, or did not make it back to base. The raid convinced the RAF Bomber Command to consider abandoning daylight bombings of Germany in favor of night actions. Next
That
slide.
sounds familiar.
Yeah. Alright, now we get into the invasions of Denmark and Norway.
Yes.
Even though we really call it an invasion.
I mean,
Kind of
yeah, that's
open, welcome with open arms a little bit there.
fair. That's fair.
The BF-110 saw considerable action during Operation Wurzerbung, the invasion of Denmark and Norway. 2 units, ZG-1 and ZG-76, were committed with 64 aircraft. The BF-110s destroyed 25 Danish military aircraft stationed at the Vallorløse Air Base on 9th of April through ground strafing alone. 1 Danish Fokker CV didn't manage to get airborne, was immediately shot down.
I'm sorry.
That's. Did the pilot yell out "spawn kill"?
Oh, I hope so.
Just yell out "stop spawn camping"!
That's a lot like playing World War II fucking
Battlefield.
No, not but it's a VR game. World War II flight sim I play, and like a lot of like Chinese people play it, and they love to spawn camp. It's really obnoxious, and then they get really mad when you spawn camp. It's like
Hypocrites.
I mean, I don't know exactly what they're saying in the chat because it's in Chinese, but like
You
they
can
don't
probably
type.
guess.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
don't start typing until you spawn camp them, and then like instantly the whole chat's flooded. Look like a bunch of ramen noodles.
Sorry to any of our Asian listeners.
Not racist, I swear.
Victor Molders took the official surrender of the town of Alaborg after landing at the local airfield. Still dressed in his flying gear, he was given a lift into the town center by a milkman to find suitable quarters for ZG-1 and the other BF-10 crews.
That's fucking awesome.
In Norway, the BF-110s helped secure the Oslo airport, escorting Junker Ju-52 transports loaded with Fallschirmjäger. The Germans were engaged by several Gloucester Gladiators who tried their best, and machine guns manned by troops on the ground. In the ensuing battle, both sides end up losing 2 aircraft.
That's it.
The Messerschmitt pilots did not know that many earlier waves of transport had turned back, for I found they turned back due to bad weather, and that the airport was unsecured, and landing their cargoes, many transports were destroyed. The remaining BF-110s still in area strafed the airfields and helped the ground troops take it. The air support provided by the destroyers was instrumental, and it was performed well as a fighter bomber in the coming campaigns. During these battles, a future 110 killed Luftwaffe ace, Helmut Lentz, scored his 5th and 6th victories against Norwegian oppositions. The
Yeah,
destroyer
but does
units,
that count?
I mean, they tried. But I see what you mean. I mean, again, going up against the Gloucester Gladiator, that's...
Bless your heart.
Yeah.
It's like,
It's
oh,
like,
he's trying.
You don't come up here to fight, do you?
Well, until they hit Malta, then it's like, what are these 3 gladiators called? Charity, Hope, and something else. You know about those gladiators, eh?
Always tears under. The Zesterwaffe, or the destroyer units, performed well when encountered mostly British bombers. On the 13th of June 1940, a squadron of Skua dive bombers was intercepted trying to reach and bomb the German battleship Scharnhorst. A squadron of BF-109s and another of BF-110s shot down 8 in as many minutes, with the BF-10s claiming 4 kills. During July, the
damn.
RAF made several raids on Norway, and on 9th July 1940, 7 out of a force of 12 Bristol Blemons bombing Stavanger were shot down by a mixed force of BF-110s and 109s from ZG-76 and JG-77.
Get fucked. I mean, that's awful. That's so.
Alright,
You know-
let's...
Sorry, Ed Sneeze. That one with the wasp. I think I've got a BF-109 that's got that one on it.
Oh yeah,
Not
ZG-1.
109. Yeah, 110 with the wasp nose on it. Looks cool.
I got one of them in the stash as well. Alright, the Western Campaigns, 1940. For the attack on the Netherlands, 145 BF-110s were commanded under Brentham von Doring of JG-2. During the campaign, the BF-110 demonstrated its capabilities as a strike aircraft. On the 10th of May, ZG-1 claimed 26 Dutch aircraft destroyed on the ground. And between 11th and 13th of May, most of the 82 aerial claims over Belgium were made by the BF-110, equipped ZG-26.
So these things actually did put in a lot of work.
Oh yeah, they was the workhorse of the fighter ring for a long time.
Good for them.
The BF-110 force also encountered the Swiss Air Force during this period, as several German raids violated Swiss airspace. About 5 BF-110s were shot down by Swiss BF-109s, which was really the BF-110's only enemy at this time.
I've read stories about the Swiss shooting down both sides of the war because they violate airspace.
Yeah.
It's like, damn, the nice guy just doesn't care.
The BF-110s participated in Operation Fall Rot, an offensive to destroy the remaining French Air Force in central France. It was to lead to 101 losses for the Luftwaffe, of which just 4 were BF-110s. No further losses of this type occurred for the remainder of the campaign. So yeah, out of 101 losses during the French campaign, only 4 was BF-110s.
And what was the campaign called?
Fall Rot, Operation Palu.
Fall of Rot.
Fall Rot. F-A-L-L-R-O-T.
That's so insulting. Fall of Rot. My God, imagine that's what your enemy thinks of you. No respect, just fucking the Fall of Rot. It's like, God.
Next slide.
Ooh, it's pregnant.
And this brings us in the timeline to the BF-110D.
Should have used protection.
It's going to have a little 109 soon.
No.
With experience fighting in Norway, efforts were made to extend the combat range of the 110C. This became the BF-110D Long Range, or the Longstrikken. Several different external fuel tanks, originally a 320-gallon centerline ventral fuel tank, nicknamed the Dackelbach, or Dachshund Belly, and then later converted down to only 240 gallons. Unfortunately, with cold weather and limited knowledge of fuel vapors, these sometimes exploded.
Jesus. Just randomly combust.
Yeah, just randomly combust due to fuel vapors and cold weather. And
Jesus.
Be like, Hans, I can't wait to get back to base. It's so cold. 20 seconds later, just evaporated.
Oh, it's so warm now.
Are you cooking sausage, Hans?
This, unintentional exploding led to unexplained losses during the North Sea patrols. And as a result, the air crew came to dislike this version.
No shit.
I wonder why. Take us to Africa, please.
Not only was you just randomly combusting, but it was also affected the handling greatly.
So you couldn't fly it, and you might blow up. Great.
Since the BF-110 was also, not very maneuverable compared to the 109 to begin with, and, the added rate made this much worse. Let's see, we have the D1, which is the long-range destroyer, which is a modified C-Series A-frame, with the option to carry the Duckel-Bach belly tank, and also underwing drop tanks, which was 240 gallons each. We had the D1R1, which was a long-range destroyer with the ventral tank and additional, able to carry additional drop tanks on the rings. Which I could not find their gallons. I think they was the paper drop tanks that they used.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And then the D1R2, which is another long range with a droppable 85-liter oil tank under the fuselage instead of the dashhound belly. And then we come to the D2, which was another long range with 2 ring-mounted 80-gallon drop tanks and a centerline bomb rack for 1,100-pound bombs. And then the D3, which had a lengthened tail for a rescue dinghy, which the D3, that's the picture down to the left, bottom left.
Which looks amazing.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And then, of course, there was the D4, which was a long-range recon that had the RB-5030 cameras, along with a twin-mounted 300-liter drop tanks. I'm not sure what that converts to in gallons off the top of my head. All right.
Yeah, the one bottom left looks that. Yeah, I think that's not German markings. Then they're.
Is that Danish? I believe that's Danish markings.
Might be. Just looking at the tail and the wings.
What? The Danes never fought for the Germans.
Well, I'm also just looking at the colors. I mean, you got if they've done the colorization right, you got green, white, and red. But then you got these which don't usually. This is a mystery. If anyone's watching and they know exactly what these markings are, please let us know because I want to get some. Because yeah, the yellow nacelles and the white and shark teeth nose. This looks awesome.
Really cool. It really does.
They got the rule of cool.
Oh, definitely.
They do. They win.
Whereas this one just looks like a fucking whale.
It does. It really does.
Alright, this brings us to the Battle of Britain.
Also known as when it all went downhill.
Yeah.
Part one of when it started going downhill.
The Battle of Britain revealed the BF-110's fatal weakness as a daylight fighter against single-engine aircraft. A relatively large aircraft at 4 tons, it lacked the agility of the Hurricane and Spitfire, and it was also easily seen. Furthermore, though it had a higher top speed than the Hurricanes, it had poor acceleration. It was better suited as a long-range bomber escort than any other aircraft of the time, and did not have the problems of restricted range that hampered the 109. The design excelled at high escort, where the BF-110 squadrons were sent well ahead of the bombers to clear the skies of enemy aircraft, using their speed and firepower advantage in diving attacks to counter the enemy's maneuverability. Then breaking contact and climbing away what we here in America would later call in the war the boom and zoom. But the BF-110 suffered greatly in close escort, where they were forced to stay with and lumber alongside the slow Ju-88s, taking away their tactical edge and forcing them to always respond to the attacking fighters, which never taken by surprise at this time.
Well, because radar as well.
Yeah. But that's the thing, it's like when they were sent in ahead of the bombers, and, early in the Battle of Britain, it's like they would, scramble the aircraft to take on the BF-110s, and then later the British learned, it's like, no, we'll just wait for the bombers to get here before we scramble.
Smart.
I guess the old boom and zoom was also by the British called the Hun in the Sun. Yep.
They say this limitation on tactical flexibility greatly hampered the ability of the BF-110 to counter the enemy. Hermann Göring's nephew, Hans Joachim Göring, was a pilot with ZG-76 flying the BF-110. He was killed in action on the 11th of July 1940 when his BF-110 was shot down by Hurricanes of No. 87 Squadron of the RAF. His aircraft ended up crashing into Portland Harbor.
Oof. Get fucked, Hans.
Yeah. The worst day of the battle for the BF-110 was the 15th of August 1940, when nearly 30 BF-110s were shot down.
Ooh,
The equivalent of an entire group. Between
in
the
one
16th
day?
and... That's in one day.
Oh, Jesus.
The 15th of August.
God
The equivalent of an entire group, yeah.
That's
between-
demoralizing.
Very. And,
Imagine
again, it was
being
because he was forced to stay with the bomber group.
imagine being one of the pilots that shot those aircraft down. How much morale booster that would have been. We got these fuckers.
See, I thought the 110 was armored as well. Was it?
Yeah, it was up armored.
Not good
Uh,
enough.
But I mean, you're going up against like 303 rounds. You know,
Yeah.
Or yeah. So not enough armoring.
Not enough armoring. Between the 16th and 17th of August, 23 more aircraft were shot down.
Ugh.
Then after the 18th of August, there was a marked reduction in the number of 110 operations. Their seeming absence has often been equated with the simultaneous disappearance from the Battle of the Ju-87, but whereas the Ju-87 had to be withdrawn because it simply could not survive in the hostile environment over southern England in the late summer of 1940, the reason for the decrease in BF-110 activity was, it was because they could not keep up with replacing lost aircraft.
Get fucked.
The last day of August proved to be a rare success for the BF-110, as ZG-26 claimed 13 RAF fighters shot down, with just a loss of 3 aircraft and 5 damaged.
Just like in the good old days, boys.
Yeah. But then on the 4th, and also again on the 27th of September, 15 BF-110s were lost on each day. The Luftwaffe had embarked on the battle with 237 serviceable BF-110s, and at the end of the Battle of Brennan, 223 were lost in combat.
Holy shit! That's like almost all their aircraft.
Yeah, I mean, that was, some of them, was rode off due to damage or, crashed, trying to land back at the airfield, but...
Oh, okay. But still, though, fuck, that's a lot of combat power gone.
Oh, yeah. On the 10th of May of 1941, in a strange episode in the aftermath of the Battle of Brennan, Rudolf Hess, the deputy leader of the Nazi Party, flew in a Bf-110 from Augsburg, north of Munich, to Scotland, apparently in an attempt to broker a peace deal between Germany and Great Britain.
Was he shot down?
No, he parachuted out.
What?
Oh, you guys never heard about that?
No?
No. Never.
Yeah,
Please enlighten us.
No. Yeah, I'm actually really curious.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Story time.
Rudolf Hess. So Rudolf Hess had it in this head that Hitler loved him so much that he was gonna. They say he was gonna try to broker a peace deal between Great Britain and Germany for Hitler, and others say there was more of an attempt to try to turn Scotland and Ireland against England.
That sounds.
Which there was a lot of Irish sentiment against England, like there always have been, but
since the beginning of time. Yep.
But it didn't work out, and he was in prison for the remainder of the war.
Free Scotland.
Yeah.
Scotland forever. That's what he should have yelled when he got down.
And this brings us to the BF-110E. The production of the BF-110 was put on a low priority in 1941 in an expectation of its replacement by the ME-210. During this time... Yeah, we all know how that turned out. 2 versions of the 110 were developed, the E and the F models. The E was designed as a fighter bomber and able to carry 4 110-pound ETC 50 racks, 500 racks, under the rings, along with a centerline ETC 500 bomb rack. The first E, the BF-110, was originally powered by the DB601B engine, but shifted to the DB601P as they became available in quantity. In total, 856 of the E models were built between August 1940 and January 1942. The E models also had upgraded armor and some fuselage upgrades to support the added rate. Most pilots of the BF-110E considered the aircraft slow and unresponsive due to this. And we had 3 different versions of the E series. The E1, which had a pair of C-50 bomb racks fitted on the outboard engines, or under the outboard engine rings, and an armament as the same armament as the C4, but with the DP601P engine. The E2 had the 601P engine, and the rear fuselage extended as same as the D3, for the dinghy. And then we also had a E3, which is a long-range reconnaissance, with the cannons removed and the RB-5030 camera installed. And the E, along with the F, seen a lot of action in North Africa at that time.
Ooh, that looks cool. That is a diorama right there.
Yes, it is.
Definitely. There's a company, I want to say it's actually Das Work. They make the alignment stands.
Huh. That's cool.
Of course, you could probably 3D print them now, too.
Or scratch build them.
Yeah.
Doesn't look too difficult.
Oh, no, they're pretty
Famous
basic. They're just like house jacks in a way. The BF-110F featured the new DB601F engine, which produced 1,331 horsepower, which is almost double the power of the original Jumo engines that was available for the first production runs.
That's not bad.
Which allowed for upgraded armor and strengthening and increased weight with no loss in performance. 3 common versions of the F model existed. Pilots typically felt that the F to be the best of the 110 line, being fully
You got it. You got it.
I feel like you now, Callum.
Welcome to my world.
You could just cut this out. Being fully aerobatic and in some respects smoother to fly than the BF-109. Though just not as fast as the 109. Eventually, 512 of the F models were completed between December of 41 and December of 42, when production gave way to the G model. Of course, we had 4 different variants of the F. We had the F1, which is the fighter bomber. We had a long-range one, which was mostly used against Allied heavy bombers and shipping. We had the F3, which was a long-range reconnaissance. And the F4, which we got here, which was the first purpose-built night fighter, specifically designed for the night fighter role. The other ones, like the Ds, they was just and the Es were converted for the night fighter role. This one was the first purpose-built night fighter from the factory.
Oh, nice.
I will say the night fighter version of the 110, they do look awesome with that radar on the front.
Oh yeah, the Elk's head.
Yeah. No, because they did exceptionally well as night fighters, didn't they?
Yes, pretty much the best night fighter of the war. I mean, kill rise. I'm sure I think Black Widow was probably actually the most advanced night fighter of the war, but I think it only ended with like less than 100 kills before the end of the war.
Yeah.
Just because of how late it, entered the theater. All right, now we get into the Balkan campaigns.
Ooh.
The Messerschmitt BF-110C and Es were committed to the invasions of Yugoslavia and Greece in April of 41. ZG-26 were deployed to the theater. Once again, the BF-110 encountered foreign-flown Messerschmitt BF-109s, this time belonging to the Yugoslav Air Force. As over Switzerland in 1940, the battles ended in their opponent's favor. On the first day on the 6th of April, BF-110s of ZG-26 lost 5 of their numbers in exchange for only 2 109s shot down. Over Greece, on the 20th of April, ZG-26 claimed 5 Hurricanes of number 33 and number 80 Squadron of the RAF for only 2 losses of their own. This engagement saw the death of 50 Victory Ace Marmaduke Paddle of number 33 Squadron. Also killed in this battle was the Ace Lieutenant W.J. Timber Woods of number 80 Squadron, who had 6.5 kills.
Timber was.
Alright.
Again, awesome looking schemes.
Yeah,
Oh,
no,
yeah.
the 110 looks fucking. It's just a good looking aircraft.
It really is. Like they
This
won the
poor
rule
guy
of cool
looks-
on this one.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, this poor guy is. Need to take a
Photobomb.
picture of something else, yeah. The guy cop looked like he's about ready to piss his pants.
Let Hans move.
oh, I love this.
Oh, I know.
This
I know.
this looks amazing. This is nice, but this is better.
Very.
And this is
definitely
weird.
Agree. We'll talk about that one in a minute.
Oh god, that does look weird. The fucking roundel.
Let's see, the North Africa campaigns and the Mediterranean. The Rashid Ali, I guess he's Muslim, so it'd be Ali.
I about to say, if you're
rebellion?
praying, you're not doing too good.
And resulting Anglo-Iraqi wars, so the Luftwaffe committed 12 of 4 of ZG-20... committed 12 of ZG-76's BF-110s in the Iraqi nationalist cause as part of the Flyer Command Iraq, or Flieger Führer Iraq. Yeah. The German
That just
machines...
sounds so wrong.
Yeah. The German machines reached Iraq in the first week of May 1941. The campaign in the desert would last for 10 days.
That wasn't long.
Yeah. 2
Nah,
RAF
it's all right.
Gladiators were claimed by future night fighter ace Martin Drues, but RAF raids badly damaged 2 BF-110s on the ground. However, by the 26th of May, no BF-110s were left serviceable and German personnel were evacuated. 1 BF-110 with work number 4035 was captured by the RAF and test flown as RAF serial number HK846 and called the Belle of Berlin. Based in Cairo in Egypt, it was to be deployed to South Africa as part of a program to train pilots on enemy equipment, but it did not make it, crashing in the Sudan. And that's what we got here on the left. This is the Belle of Berlin before it crashed, of course.
Well, good thing I got a picture.
In the North Africa campaign, the BF-110 acted as a support aircraft for the Junkers Ju-87 Stuka units in 1941. Nearly 20% of the destroyer's missions were ground attack oriented, and a number of BF-110 aces were lost in aerial combat during this period, and other losses were considerable. Significantly, on the night of 22-23 of May, the BF-110 was pressed in night fighter service over the desert. Oberleutnant Alfred Rummer scored 3 nocturnal kills against Allied bombers in the space of a week. In August 1942, a stalemate between the Allied and Axis forces in North Africa permitted the withdrawal of ZG-26 to Crete for convoy protection instead. During this time, a number of United States Army Air Forces B-24 Liberators were destroyed. On the 29th of September 1942, while on patrol alone, Oberlieutenant Helmut Hawk of ZG-26 engaged a formation of 11 B-24s, shooting down 2 of the bombers. By himself, the BF-110 had demonstrated its capability and role. It was to excel out over Europe. I need some water. Alright, and this brings us to the Eastern Front. Just 51 airworthy BF-110s took part in the initial rounds of Operation Barbarossa, and all were from ZG-26 and ZG-76. The BF-110 rendered valuable support to the German army by carrying out strike missions in the face of very heavy anti-aircraft artillery defenses. A huge number of ground kills were achieved by BF-110 pilots in the east. Some of the most successful was Oberlieutenant Edwin Meyer, who received the Knight's Cross on the 20th of December 1941 for 18 aerial victories and
Holy
48
shit.
aircraft destroyed on the ground,
God.
as well as 2 tank kills.
Bro is fucking getting it.
He was after it.
Yeah.
Oberlieutenant Johannes Kiel was credited with 62 aircraft destroyed on the ground, plus 9 tanks and 20 artillery pieces. And he was later credited with a submarine sinking and 3 torpedo boats sunk.
God damn.
Yeah.
Bro took out a whole ass submarine.
Yeah.
It's like, guys, you'll never believe what I took out today.
It was just sitting there on the surface.
They came up for Vasa. I don't know what they are doing. They're at the bottom of the channel now.
In the far north, in the battlefields between Norway and the port of Murmansk, the BF-110 still could claim important successes in the first half of 1942. For example, the destroyer unit deployed there, the JG-5, achieved an important victory on the 10th of May 1942 when 6 of its BF-110s, which were escorting Ju-88s of KG-30, ran into a formation of 6 Soviet SB-2 bombers escorted by 9 Hurricanes of 2 GSAP. The ensuing dogfight, the destroyer pilots destroyed all 9 for only 1 BF-110 lost. In return, which is a remarkable victory over a Hurricane, especially when they was, in the escort duty of, escorting Ju-88s, having to stay with them. In the role of ground support, and flown by a seasoned pilot, the BF-110 was lethal. For example, the ZG-1 Hauptmann Wolfgang Schnick and his 3 ringmen repeatedly attacked a column of 50 Soviet vehicles, destroying 30 of them. Schnick was to achieve 18 aerial victory credits on the destroyer and was awarded Oak Leaves for his Knight's Cross on 30th October 1942. One of his deputies, Lieutenant Rudolf Scheifel, was awarded the Knight's Cross of the Iron Cross a day earlier for scoring 5 aerial victories and destroying 50 Soviet tanks during Operation Blau. This was still at the time right after Stalin, purged anybody who knew anything about military leadership.
Fair.
And then they wondered why they didn't do so well.
Yeah. And this brings us to the most beautiful, the BF-110G. Although the ME-210 entered service in mid-1941, it was plagued with problems.
It was shy.
And eventually withdrawn from service for future development. In the wake of the failure of the ME-210, the BF-110G was designed. The G model was fitted with the DB605B engine, producing a whopping 1,677 horsepower.
Oh man, that's so fucking good. Oh my god. Flying everywhere. So fast.
And it was. The BF-110G also had upgraded nose armament and underwent some changes which improved the aerodynamics of the aircraft. No BF-110G existed, so the BF-110G2 became the baseline BF-110G. A large number of the Vrstazviv field conversion packs were available, making the G subtype the most versatile. That was things they could do in the field to upgrade the earlier models to the G variant. Upgrading the engines, the armament. The initial batch of 6 pre-series production G0 aircraft built in June 1942 were followed by 797 G2s, 172 G3s, and 2,293 of the G4 Night Fighters.
Jesus.
Built
They were
between
busy.
December 42 and April 1945, pilots reported the BF-110G to be a mixed bag in the air, in part due to all the changes between the G and the F series. The G was considered a superior gun platform with excellent all-around visibility and considered, until the advent of the Heinkel HE-219, to be the Luftwaffe's best night fighter. Of course, we had the G1, against which it was not built. The G2, which was the fighter bomber, often used against heavy bombers and allied shipping equipped with rockets. G3 was the long-range reconnaissance version. And the G4, which was the 3-crew night fighter with the FUG-202-220 Liechtenstein radar, or LCAD. The Schrag music, or jazz music, which was at this time mounted midway down the cockpit, right behind the pilot and between and in front of the radio operator. And had the cannon muzzles just barely protruding above the canopy glazing. And of course, there was multiple combinations of engine boost, jazz music arrangements, radar arrangements, and forward firing armament during the whole G4. It's pretty much up to the ground crew, and the pilot. It's like
you could customize your 110.
Yes, it's like as night fighters units grew, and through experimentation, each pilot kind of found out what he liked better.
That's actually kind of cool. I like that.
That is. Makes for good modeling stuff.
That as well. It's
Definitely.
like, well, then it's like, no, 110G's never had this. Well, actually, this one pilot.
Well,
You say that.
yeah. And here is the arrangement of the jazz music, of how the cannons were protruding through the cockpit there.
Who doesn't like a bit of jazz music?
Oh, yeah.
Spoon
All right, and we're getting into the Nachtjager versions of the... I kind of decided to throw this together at the end because, one, it's my favorite, and this was the most successful of the BF-110s. So, due to unacceptable losses during daylight operations in the summer of 1940, RAF Bomber Command switched to a night bombing campaign against Germany. That was to increase in scale and tempo for the remainder of the war. In response, in July 1940, the Luftwaffe created the first Nachtjager squadrons equipped with the BF-110C. The BF-110 had a great deal to commend it as a night fighter. Its docile handling made it easy to fly, and its powerful armament made it capable of destroying any RAF bomber. However, it wasn't much faster than the bombers it was sent to intercept, and crews and early night fighters relied on nothing more complex than their own eyesight to find their targets.
Jesus. Hope you got 2020.
Early Rosenberg tracking radar on the ground would direct a BF-110 towards an RAF bomber, but this could only be attacked if the fighter made visual contact. This worked to an extent on a moonlit night, but it was virtually impossible on dark nights. It was clear that a more effective means of finding targets at night was needed. Initially, a BF-110 were fitted with an innovative Spanner Anlang, known as the Peeping Tom infrared sensor, in the nose, but this proved to have such short range that it was almost useless.
Oh, lovely. So,
Then
like,
the first...
it's like you're basically right up the. You're steering nose to nose with the rear gunner at that point.
Well,
Think-
Like, wait a second, what's that sheen?
well, I'm pretty sure most RAF bombers didn't have rear gunners
Yep, they did.
or belly gunners.
So the main ones that the RAF used, the Sterling, the Halifax, and the Lancaster, all three of them had rear tail turrets, and they were usually had at least 4 303 Browning machine guns, except for the later version of the Lancaster, which switched them out for a dual 50 cal. None of them had belly gunners at all, but they felt like they didn't need them because they also had the dorsal. They all had dorsal turrets, and usually when they were attacked by a night fighter, control went to the gunners, not to the pilot. So the gunners dictated what they did. One of the maneuvers was to do a slow bank to the right to get the night fighter to try and follow it, and then they'd hard over to the left, and then that way the night fighter was slowing down with them and was trying to turn with them, and at that point they would drift into the gunners' sights, and they'd have 6 303s firing at them.
Nice.
Yeah. So
Get fucked.
that's usually how the bomber command, because then because all of them, the front turret, because they all had a nose turret as well, they were all used by the bombardier. But of course, once they're over Germany, the bombardier was lying down and looking to fuck some shit up. So, but yeah, they all had tail turrets. It turns out for like night fighters, the 4 303s were actually fairly decent because they were just spat out. They had a much higher rate of fire than the 50 cals, so they were quite good at just spraying an area. So if they thought that there was because usually you could see a night fighter if it was pitch black just from the engine exhaust, which is why the 110 night fighters had a sort of a modified exhaust, just so you wouldn't see the little the fires in them.
Yeah, like flash hiders.
Yeah, basically. So yeah, earlier ones you could see those, but yeah, basically it just came down to just looking in the dark and seeing if you could see a shadow flying around, or you usually saw it when the your mate next to you got lit up by fucking 420mm cannons, and that's usually how you saw them.
Yeah.
The too late principle.
Yeah. Which early on it's like the Germans, they painted their night fighters black, and then come to realize that it's actually makes them easier to see if they're black.
Yeah.
Which is why like the Black Widow was painted gloss black, because the gloss was harder to see than flat black.
Yeah, it actually reflected more like it was reflective like the night sky, not matte, which absorbed it, sort of thing.
Yeah.
I think the Black Widow was originally painted olive drab, like the very first one.
Yeah, I think it was.
And it looks,
olive drab widow.
It looks weird.
Yeah.
It's like that's not right. That's not right.
The first BF-110 to be designed specifically as a night fighter was the F-4. It entered service in late summer of '42, equipped with the FUG-202 Liechtenstein air intercept radar. This proved to be much more effective for night fighters, and soon after, the BF-110 F-4U-1 was introduced, featuring not just the air intercept radar, but also the new jazz music weapon system. This comprised of, of course, the pair of upward-firing MG FF 22mm cannons. One of the most notable actions of the BF-110 occurred on the night of 17th, 18th of August 1943. Some BF-110 units had been equipped with the experimental jazz music system, and emplacement. Let's see, where I lost my place on my notes. Sorry.
All good. Happens all the time.
Yeah, because I just said that.
As you can see, we are a very, very professional podcast, and
100%.
Yeah. Okay. On this night, JG-5's Lieutenant Peter Erdhart destroyed 4 bombers in 30 minutes. Despite excellent visibility, none of the RAF bombers had reported anything unusual that would indicate a new weapon or tactics in German night fighter forces. This ignorance was compounded by the traceless ammunition used by the BF-110, as well as firing on the British bombers' blind spots. Many RAF crews witnessed a sudden explosion of friendly aircraft, but assumed in some cases it was very accurate flak.
That would be some accurate flak, Jesus.
Very accurate flak.
I think that's given the Germans a bit too much credit.
Yeah, they could hardly do that into the daytime. Jesus Christ.
A few of the German fighters were seen, let alone fired on. Later on, as the specialist BF-110 G4s were received by night fighter ranks, the mid-cockpit mounted jazz music was replaced by one at the extreme rear of the cabin. The BF-110 G2 was introduced in early 1943. It featured updated DB605B engines and replacement of the MG FF cannon in the nose with 2 Mauser MG 151 20mm cannons. And the single machine gun in the rear cockpit was replaced with a rapid-firing pair of MG-81 machine guns. These aircraft began to reach the frontline units in early '45, and variants included the improved Liechtenstein C-1 air intercept radar, which detected, and the Rosendahl Hobble system, which detected emissions from the Moniker tail warning radar fitted to some RAF bombers. So the same thing that
they had a tail warning system.
Yeah, later in the war, it's like they RAF had a warning system in the tail trying to detect approaching aircraft from behind.
That's cool. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
And then, of course, this system picked up on that signature, so that was just more, instead of like, hey, there's something behind, it's like, Hey, there's a
I'm
bomber over there.
It's like, hey, I'm over here. Come shoot me.
The BF-110 proved to be the most lethal of all the night fighters used by the Luftwaffe. Very few were shot down this rail, with most losses coming from mid-air collisions with the bombers that they was trying to shoot down. Landing accidents on blacked-out airfields, or damage caused by German anti-aircraft fire.
Oh, awesome.
Because, it's like the flak batteries wouldn't stop firing just because night fighter units was in the air and later in the war.
They wanted to have their shot as well.
Yeah, anything to stop the bombers. At one point, it was estimated that 30 British bombers were being destroyed for every BF-110 night fighter lost.
Oof.
A kill ratio rarely equaled by any other aircraft type during the war. As a result of this success, production of the BF-110 increased, with over 1,500 being delivered in 1943 and a similar number in 1944. It is believed that the 110 destroyed more British bombers a night than any other type. Heinz Wolfgang Schnaff destroyed 121 British bombers himself, including 9 Lancasters destroyed in a single night, making him the most successful night fighter ace ever. All his kills was achieved by flying variants of the BF-110.
God damn.
Good for him.
Oh, there was many aces with over 100 kills in the night fighter units.
I wonder what that did to them, like, psychologically. Like, every time they got an aircraft, you know?
I mean, you have to think, it's like not all of them made it. I mean, let's see, what was 121 kills, well, 7 servicemen in each bomber?
God, that's a lot of fucking dudes to kill.
Yeah.
I mean, they never actually saw the people, but still, just the psychological effect of that.
I mean, and not all of them bailed out and made it.
Oh, hell no.
And how would you like to bail out into the middle of the city you're just bombing?
Yeah, fuck that.
Yeah.
I'll ride that.
Hey guys, how's it going? Nice night we're having, eh?
It's a lovely fire. Oh, I think I caused that one.
I promise I'm here against my will.
So who's not going into work tomorrow? Because of me?
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Long weekend. Right before he was lynched.
Yeah.
Right.
In September of 1943, Arthur Harris, convinced that a strategic bombing campaign against Germany's cities would force a German collapse, pressed for further mass attacks, while RAF Bomber Command destroyed Hanover city center and 86% of crews dropped their bombs within 3 miles of the aiming point. Losses were severe. The Rhine area was the prime target for British bombers in 43, and German defenses inflicted a considerable loss rate. The BF-110 had a hand in the destruction of some 2,751 RAF bombers in 1943 alone.
God.
Yeah.
That is insane.
And they just kept coming.
Guess what?
Just like the Eastern Front.
Yeah. Along with the German flak and other night fighters, the RAF... that's 2,751 RAF bombers combined with the German flak and other night fighters. So that wasn't just BF-110s alone. That was the whole effort.
Still, that's a lot of fucking aircraft.
Yeah. The RAF developed a radar countermeasure called Window to blind German radar and introduced the de Havilland Mosquito to fly feints and divert the BF-110s and other night fighter forces from the true target, which worked initially, but at this time the BF-110 remained the backbone of the night force, although it was now being reinforced by the Junkers Ju-88. In October 1943, General Joseph Kamhubert reported the climbing attrition rate is unacceptable and urged Hermann Göring to stop committing the German night fighter force to daylight operations. Many of the night fighters had taken part in costly daylight battles of attrition against American bombers from June to August in 1943. It had increased from around 2% to 9.8% attrition rate. However, the fortunes for the for most BF-110 equipped forces turned during late August, September of 1943. The night fighter arm claimed the destruction of 123 out of some 1,179 bombers over Hamburg on one night, a 7.2% loss rate. During the Battle of Berlin, 1,128 bombers were lost in 5 months. RAF Bomber Command had nearly burned out, but these losses were primarily a result of fighter defenses, at the heart of which was the BF-110. The German defenses have won a victory which prevented deep penetration raids for a time. And then 45 came around, and
It all went to hell.
that was the BF-110. And if you want to build a model, my opinion, the best kits are made by Dragon, Dragon and Edward, which Dragon is the owner of Ringtech Cyber Hobby. So,
Is it?
They got yeah. Cyber Hobby is Dragon.
Huh. Okay, so what do we got here? We've got the 1110D Nachtjäger.
Mhm.
I got So this would have been later war, like a D converted into a night fighter, would it?
Yes.
Okay, so because what we have here in the background is a Handley Page Hampton, which at that point had been withdrawn.
Mhm.
So yeah, little issue with that box art, but otherwise. So what have we got? We also got Edard do a whole bunch in 148th, and they're supposed to be really good kits.
Oh yeah, if you want a 148 kit or 172nd, definitely go with Edward. If you want to build a Doppelbock in 148, then go with the Dragon. If you want to do 132nd, Dragon's the only one that offers them, but they are really nice.
I have seen one online on Trade Me, and it was being sold for like $50.
Yeah, and then of course you got the older manufacturers that really outdated kits like Airfix. Revell has some really old pigs. Fujimi has some as well, and I think Hasegawa has a couple old ones.
See, I know I've got one in this scheme, 72nd scale, but it's got the wasp nose and everything. I cannot, for the life of me, think of what company it was. I can picture the box art. I mean, this is, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 20 years ago?
You can do it.
Oh, jeez.
I want to say 20 years ago I built it, and I can picture the box art, but I cannot picture like who it was. But I've got a BF-110 in with the wasp nose, and it came with. I think I've got rockets on mine.
Okay, so it was probably anti-shipping then.
I think so. I can picture the box art. It was definitely the wasp nose. It was a grey scheme. That's all I can remember. If I ever find it, I'll be happy, because what I'm trying to do is I've got literally all the kits that I built from when I was 5 to 13.
Oh.
And some of them I know exactly which ones they are, because I remember the box art. So like, my Avenger is the Academy one. Avenger is the Academy. The Wildcat is Academy 1 as well. Yeah, so I remember those, but I'm trying to remember the rest of them, just so I can get those kits and then do them now. Build them now and see the difference. There won't be much, but we'll see. But yeah, otherwise, just a really cool aircraft.
Oh yeah, it is my favorite German fighter.
Yeah,
it is just beautiful looking.
I will say this for anti-shipping rockets. Do you guys know just how the RAF did this? I'll just do a little story time.
No,
I'll get into the nitty-gritty of it in another episode that I'm planning. But most of the strikes were actually done underwater.
Really?
Yeah. So one of the ways that they did it is they had, say, I'm just going to draw it on this. The people watching won't see it, but oh well. But like you had the side of the. Hang on. Nope.
We believe in you.
Erase that. So you had like, that's say the side profile of the ship, and then that's water. So they tried to get it so, because what rockets would do is they go down like that, right? But if they hit the water, they'll do that. And what you'd try and do is you had 4 rockets, you'd try and get at least 2 of them to go underwater, 1 to hit the side, and then 1 to do damage on the top. So be
Okay.
4 salvos of 2. You're trying to get 2 underwater to breach the waterline, 1 above the waterline, and then 1. You're trying to get it to strike along there, or you try and get most of yours underwater. But a lot of the time they go down, hit the water, and then level out, and then just go straight because they had enough. They had propulsion to do it.
Mhm.
But there's something I'll get into in a later date because I watched a video on. It was an RAF instructional video from back then. Of bow fighters in Coastal Command and how they do rocket attacks. I'll find it and I'll send it to you guys because it's super cool to watch. But that's the basic principle they were after, and it was something I never actually. I just thought, ship, you just try and put rockets onto the top of it, but no, there was a science on how you approach it and where you ideally trying to hit it, and so brings about an intermission. So. Big cheers to Clint. This was your third or second?
Yes. Second.
Second, and we know you've got another one in the works at the moment.
Yeah. First one was the 251.
That's right. What's the other one you're working on at the moment?
It started out as the Puma, but now I'm kind of going into just all German 6-wheeled vehicles.
Oh, nice.
That would be cool. But until then, we're just going to have a brief intermission, and then we'll be back with hobby news and whips and group build announcements and all that bollocks. So we'll be right back. And we are back, and we are starting off, as usual, with the good old hobby news. So I think there's some good ones in this week, so let's go find out.
Has to be better than last week.
Yeah. So first off, if only Dennis was here, we have an Armour Hobby 148 Sea Hurricane Mark II-C. These are the Hurricanes used by the Fleet Air Arm. And basically it's just a standard Hurricane, but it has a arrestor hook. It's got 4 20mm cannons. It has the awesome looking white-based Coastal Command and Fleet Air camouflage. The box art looks amazing. It's just shot down a. What is that? It's
some kind of aircraft.
It's a Junkers JU. I want to say 370 or 270. 270. Yes. It's a 270, I think.
The big one.
Either way, it looks cool. That's not even the big one. I think the biggest one, you got the Junker, the JU 270, 370, and 470, and I think the 470 was a prototype only, and it had 6 engines.
Okay.
Yeah, and and they were used for a cargo as well, and it had a really cool cargo loading system. So, but either way, we're looking at the Hurricane. So it's 48 scale, 3D printed parts included. Would be a very good kit. I would love to get my hands on one. I am so glad there is a Sea Hurricane out there now. I'm loving this Hurricane. The time of the Hurricane. I love it. Although painting the white would be a bitch and a half.
Yeah.
Pink primer.
Up next from Hobby Boss, we have, first off, in 1 to 35th scale, a Feisler FI156U Storch. I think it's Storch or...
Storch, yeah.
Storch. It's a Storch.
Storch.
As well as a 148 scale Hurricane Mark II-C Tropical. Again, with the Hurricanes, and I'm very happy about. That Storch in 35th scale will be massive. The aircraft itself is ginormous. Like a lot bigger than you think it is.
Oh yeah, it was a short takeoff and landing.
Oh
So
yeah.
it's got a lot of ring area.
Have you seen it do a short takeoff and landing, like in real life?
No.
Came across a video of warbirds taking off and doing that, and like the storch was, I don't know, needed 20 feet, and it was in the air.
Damn.
10 feet to land. It was like it literally the runway. It lifted off, and then glided, dropped down, landed, stopped, lifted off again, and it used up like a third of the runway. Like,
Dude,
it was showing off.
that's what they need on aircraft carriers. Jesus.
This is also the aircraft they used when
Mussolini.
they rescued Mussolini. Yep.
Yep.
Kill 'em.
So yeah, I built the Academy 72nd scale Storch, and I hate that kit, and I hated the aircraft for a long time because of that. It was a bitch of a kit, but either way, 35th scale would probably be pretty cool. Although masking the canopy would be yeah, it's a bitch and a half.
Get the Tamiya one, and of course it's 148, but it comes with the Tamiya mask already.
Oh, nice.
So, and it's a great looking aircraft.
Well, I'll say that you think it'd be the same scale, same size as say the L2 Grasshopper or something. You know, the American little thing. It's like twice the size. It's massive.
Yeah.
And
hold 3 people in it.
Yeah. Or half of Goering.
What is that? That's a ship.
Up next, by Hobby Boss as well, we are getting a 1700 SS Olympic in World War I troop carrier Dazzle scheme. So the Olympic was the sister ship to the Titanic, as part of those old school super carriers, super liners they called them. The Olympic had a long history. It went through both world wars. This is it during the First World War, when it was used as a troop carrier to get troops from Canada and the US over to Europe. So I thought I'd include it in because it is a war one, and the Dazzle scheme looks awesome.
It's very different.
If only Dennis was here as well. From Hobby Japan, a Japan Ground Self-Defense Force Type 74G MBT. Great looking tank, great looking kit, and this is the 5th series in the Hobby Japan model kit. So if anyone has built anything from Hobby Japan, please let us know. I'd be keen to see what they're like. Up next from Zukimura, and 48 scale again, we have an F4E Late Phantom 2. This is part of the Super Wing series. And this has a scheme celebrating 30 years of Phantoms. And it looks awesome. I really want to get myself an F4 Phantom, although the one I want is a Vietnam, the Vietnam ones, probably as a Wild Weasel. But looks great. I think this is mainly a Reebox with new decals, but I don't care because it looks cool.
Oh, yeah.
And also, Zukimura are supposed to be a really good company, aren't they?
Oh, they are. I built their Vietnam D, and it was a dream of a kit to put together.
Yeah, I'd love to have that kit. Up next from Trumpeter in 1350 scale, a French light cruiser, the Georges Lagos. I don't know. It's French.
You can do it, buddy. I believe in you.
Well, at least someone does. I don't know much about Trumpeter 350 scale, but I've heard mixed reviews, so I will say it is a very cool looking ship. Also from Trumpeter in 48 scale, we're getting a MI-24P Hind F. This has got new decals for, didn't elaborate what Air Force, but it's grey and looks cool. And also it's just, it's a Hind. Hinds are cool.
Oh, yeah.
And I think the 24P variant is the one that doesn't have the 23mm cannon as a flexible mount. It has two, you can see just down here, twin barrels there mounted to the side of the fuselage and aimed by the pilot, not by the gunner.
But Callum, then it was made by the Russians.
And occasionally they do something cool.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
From Rodin, we're getting the 135th
No.
scale. What?
No,
It's a-
Rodin.
A Vomag Omnibus 7OR660, so they released this in 72nd, now they're releasing it in 35th scale. An ugly company and an ugly... It's so ugly. It's hideous, isn't it?
It just doesn't look right, dude.
No, it's...
I would say if I bought that, it's 35th scale, so I would like make it destroyed in like Berlin or something with infantry fighting over it to make it look cool. Because anything else is just going to be like no.
Yeah.
Even then, it's like as shitty as Rodin is, it's like you probably still couldn't build it to destroy it.
No such thing as accidentally build it bad.
Yeah.
From Special Hobby in 72nd scale, we're getting a Breda BA-88B Linz, or Deuces bomber. This is an Italian twin-engined light bomber. It's got 2 occupants, a pilot and a gunner. And it looks incredibly round.
Looks incredibly German.
It's Italian.
Yeah, definitely
Oh,
Italian.
I know, but it just looks German.
I think it looks like the Italian's BF-110.
Yeah.
Honestly, yeah.
I'd love
it. Ate too much spaghetti.
Goring sat in it once.
That's his personal aircraft.
The only way to get him inside. Anyway, from Models Fit, a Mirage 2000C in 72nd scale, mainly including this just because it has an awesome looking decal set to it with the tiger on the tail and everything. It just looks awesome.
That would be an amazing HIDF scheme.
Honestly, the Mirage 2000C being in the HIDF is not outside of the realms of possibility, to be honest. A lot of countries use them.
It just looks good. Like, it's just a good looking aircraft.
Yeah. From First to Fight, it is in 72nd scale. A French reconnaissance tank, the AMR 35ZTIB. This is along the lines of the R35, but it has got a different turret. It's slightly different. There's a lot of the AMR and the R35 very, very similar in a lot of ways.
Didn't we cover this in that R35 episode or Sharpie 1 episode or whatever?
It'll be in the R35, I think it will be, but it's a cool looking tank.
It is. Mm-hmm. It'd be really cool to see it like with the crew captured by the Germans.
Yeah,
a little vignette.
Next from Kinetic, 148 scale. This is mainly new parts and new decals, but I want to include it. An F-16B Viper in Royal Danish Air Force liveries. So twin-engine, twin-seater F-16 looks cool. Kinetic, pretty good. Are they?
I've never had experience with them.
Yeah, I don't know. I have a feeling new Kinetic is good, old Kinetic is not so good. I'm not sure. I keep hearing mixed things about it, so I'm not. Every time I see a Kinetic kit, I'm not sure.
I'll buy one to find out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And lastly, for Garrison, from Alpine Miniatures in 16th scale, an Alamo Scout US 6 Army used in these guys were in the Pacific Theater, so we're getting Pacific themed figures. Garrison,
just the wrong scale.
Yeah,
I know it's in 16 scale, but I would love to have one just because it looks really good, and it'll be it'll be cool to try and do the camo scheme in 16th.
Yeah. I've seen there's a guy on Instagram currently building this exact model, and it's looking really good. I actually thought of you when I saw it.
I mean, 16th scale figures are worth trying at least once. They are quite good. I mean, they're good for just like trying out skin tones and stuff like that, but also just sort of the more detailed, more detailed than a 35th. So,
yeah, definitely.
But it looks cool. It's Pacific themed. We do have a Pacific Theater group build coming up, so wink, wink, nudge, nudge, and that's it. that's all we got for the. That's what we deem interesting for this week. Now we'll move on to the old whips, because I know Garrison and Clint have been working on something. I haven't. I haven't worked on anything for about a week because I've run out of supplies.
Slacker. Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, I know. Who's first?
I am.
Clinty.
It's work I've been doing to the 222. This is from Hobby Boss, which actually isn't a Hobby Boss kit. It's an old TriMaster kit, which, for a kit that came out in the 80s, it is excellent.
Is it in the second or third trimester right now? Ting.
Took me a second there. But I've been making the lifting fixtures to go on it, and then, of course, the work I've been doing to weathering the ship backdrop.
Looks awesome.
And that's
Very
all I
much.
got.
Have you figured out how you're going to display it with the? Because these look cool. The lifting things you've done. Any idea how you're going to do that yet, or still working it out?
Still working it out.
Well,
It's
you've
like
got
I want to suspend it while it's in the air.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I might just have it on the ground like it just dropped. But
I think suspend it up by like an inch.
yeah,
And then just figure it out, I guess. I got no suggestions.
yeah, just figure it out.
Just do it.
Yeah.
Just do it, mate. You'll be fine.
Yeah, what's the problem here? Just
Yeah,
do it.
Yeah. I don't see an issue. That looks awesome. That's looking awesome at the moment, man. That's really cool.
Yeah, I
Thank you.
love the whole ship side there, because the amount of work you put into just doing the fucking rivets,
Yeah.
and then making it look like a real ship side is just really cool. And the 222s.
Also, the weathering just looks fun. Looks like
Oh yeah,
looks
It has
relaxing.
been.
It's Candyland.
I cannot wait to get this thing fucking primed. Oh my god.
It's still looking like the Soviet-Russian Barbie dream house.
Yeah.
Barbie goes to Moscow.
Ken gets drafted.
Ken wrote something on Facebook once.
Well, this is gonna be the Swedish downtown area in this village. What if Cold War? Been working on the buildings. Right now I'm working on part of the inside, but I took these right before intermission. I got the siding on the building, so it's basically supposed to be like concrete slabs on the exterior with bricks on the inside. Of course, there'll be like wallpaper and shit like that, but with the exception of carving out the bricks on where the explosions have happened, and then adding the brackets to hold up the gutters and the drains, the exterior's done. And then, of course, I have the street lamp I got attached once it's all painted. But yeah, pretty fun doing all that.
It's looking
Very
nice. You're very good at interior decoration.
Thank you. Well then, there's STRV. Not too much has happened since I last showed you guys, but I did on the bottom right. There's just a little bit of chipping, just a tad here, because you won't be able to see it. But I just wanted to add it just because. Then I added 2 antennas, which are .008 gauge guitar string, and then just showing the drainage pipe there on the bottom left, and then the STRV's current state right now. I'll have to mask off the, let's see, all the tools, the track, the extra tracks, and then the machine gun on the commander's cupola, and then I'll be able to, what's the word, whitewash it once I get the decals on. But I'm waiting for camo netting to come in the mail this week before I start that. So.
Oh, cool.
Very nice.
What happened there with the blue?
I accidentally got literally the smallest tab of blue on my thumb when I was painting, and I was steadying the STRV for a solid minute trying to paint the axe handles there by the barrel, and then I lifted my finger, didn't realize it until like I grabbed, it was the tracks I grabbed, like the rubber band tracks, to start painting those, and I got blue on them. I'm like, what the fuck? I looked over, and there's just a blue smudge. It was like twice as big, but trying to get it off with a little bit of warm water and some scrubbing. I got about half of it off, but I left that bit, and I was like, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna whitewash it anyways. I'll just make sure to, not. I'll make sure the Cayman knitting goes over that, just in case it shows through the whitewash.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't use hairspray or?
Yeah. The wife got me a brand new thing of hairspray to do because my bottle was fucking just like wasn't putting anything out. There was hardly anything in it, so just I'll do the decals and then I'll gloss coat, decals, matte coat, hairspray, whitewash or spray white, whitewash, and then pin wash and weather, and then it'll be done.
Hell yeah.
But that's going to take about 3 weeks probably because I want to do some nice mud work on the undercarriage. That's why I've left the wheels off right now. Really want to try to work on that. But yeah, my goal is to get this whole diorama done by sometime in April. I think it's mid-April. We've got a diorama or a model show here in town at our local hobby store for the spring. So I'm going to take this and enter it.
Hell yeah.
Yep.
Very cool. That the STRV is looking awesome.
Thank you. It's I've definitely fallen in love with the look of it, and researching about the tank is just fucking such a cool tank. It's literally like the older or the newer version of the Stug. It is so fucking cool. Makes me want to build a Stug, which I've got one in the stash I'm eventually going to build.
All right, Garrison, we got this is the last week of it, isn't it?
Today's the 20. Yep, the last week of it. So the next episode should be going over the submissions and shit.
We might give it another week just to let people like submit it because I've got until the first to build it. So.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
We'll probably. So what we're talking about, of course, is the North Africa campaign group build. That finishes next week, so people like Clint need to hurry up and just do it, figure shit out.
It's almost there.
But you got about a week left to get things finished and then get it all submitted, and then we'll give everyone like I don't know a week after the March 1st to submit them. And then we'll look into judging and doing the recap for those. So, yeah, you guys got about a week left. So, we've just had one new submission from Nick, Scale Armorer, today. That thing looks amazing.
Oh, yeah.
It does.
Oh, yeah.
Like, yeah, that one that's a hard to beat one. That was seriously good. There's some really good models coming out of this one, so.
Oh yeah, it's going to be a hard one to judge.
I'm excited. Sure. I'm excited to judge it. Yeah, it's going to be so cool.
Too. Likewise, yep. And then the newest group build coming out, one of the two that we were going to be doing. This is the Pacific Theater group build starting March 1st, ending September 1st. Kind of same rules apply as the North Africa group build. One prize at the end, all that stuff. I'll be getting the Discord slides up for it, or the category and channels up for it here soon. But yeah, anything to do with the Pacific Theater during World War II is absolutely, you go for it. Ships, aircraft, infantry, tanks, scenery, whatever the fuck you want to do, go for it. Yeah, very excited for that one.
Actually, I've got some
very, very nice.
I got a little bit of news about the one I'm going to do, Garrison. You know how I've been trying to find US Marines figures?
Yes.
I realized the other day I have some.
Oh.
Hey.
Yeah. You know the trailer that I got for the M113?
Oh, yeah, that kit.
Yeah, that kit. It's got 3 Marines in
it. Those figures suck. I've built those.
Yes, I know. I'm trying to build one now just as practice. But considering that at least half of them is going to be hidden by the mountain, I think I should be all right. So the guy that's got the M1 carbine, I think, will do the trick. So it's not going to be an exact replica of the photo I've got, but it'll be a very
Close
good
enough.
inspiration. Yeah, close enough inspiration sort of thing. So, but yeah, I've literally got everything all sorted out to start building that. So I really can't wait for the 1st of March. It's going to be fun.
Oh fuck
Sounds good.
yeah! I've got let's see, it's the Dragon Tarwa Sherman.
Oh
With
yeah,
the metal barrel and resin parts. I've got a Master Box infantry set from Tarwa from the Marines. I got a Tamiya infantry set for the Japanese. Then I'll be getting some resin and photo etch palm trees and some more figures from AliExpress. I've already got a bunker from the Pacific Theater that's resin. I just gotta get some decals for the tank and a couple extra things, but I'm very excited to do mine as well. Clint, what are you doing for yours?
No idea.
Fair enough.
Better
All
think
right.
fast though.
Yes,
Yeah, I
all
only
pod-
got 6 months.
All podcast members have to be in the group build. No, that's a lie, actually.
Yeah,
but,
100%.
but Pacific one definitely should be. I mean, you got 5 months to do it in. 6, 5.
Yeah, I got something. I just don't know what yet.
Yeah.
March, April, May, June, July. Yeah, 6 months.
Yeah, because I got 2 other things that I might build at the same time, just as a part of it. Like I've got the 2 M8 Scott kits.
Mm.
One's going to be European, the other one's going to be Pacific Theater. I just got to find decals for it.
Yeah. I got I got the STRV. And
Yeah.
then we're doing that 48-hour group build. So.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Got that one. And then the Ukraine stuff I want to keep working on once those are done after the Pacific.
Yeah. Actually, I need to do that announcement as well next week, so don't let me forget because that's on the 8th of March. Yeah. So that's pretty close. I need to really catch up with those guys about that. But because what I was thinking with my M8 Scott is Clint's Type 97.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking, looking at it, I could probably get the dimensions off one side of it and then make my diorama as an addition to it.
Oh.
Or at least try to, like, I'm on the other side of the world, but see if we ever do meet up and I take it and see if we can just slide them together and they fit. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
But we'll see. We'll see.
Well, alongside the Pacific Group build, which has both competition and recreational submission options, we have the Science Fiction Group build, which is purely for fun. No prize, no, none of that stuff. It's just for fun. But anything sci-fi related, could be Star Wars, Star Trek, that, anything you want to do. But yeah, lots of fun there. Good options, and hoping to see some good submissions. Even though it's just a recreation, we always love to see new stuff.
Absolutely. And of course, once you've finished listening to this, go check out all the other podcasts. I'll definitely say go check out Modeling Insanity. I've been chatting with those guys quite a bit, and they are pretty cool. But then check out the others on the bench. A couple of weeks ago, we had Ian Kezias from On the Bench on, so go check them out. Plastic Posse, Small Subjects, Plastic Model Mojo, Sprue Cutters, Model by Garpoden, Model Geeks, Just Making Conversation, Am Show, and Built Sideways. Go check them all out. Since we're at the end of the episode, we've got to thank our Patreons. They are Paul Gallagher, Lord Floki, Robert Judson, and Robert Brisbane. You guys help keep the lights on and support the show. So you guys get access to all the stuff that can't go on YouTube, like a certain little story at the start of this episode. What I'm going to do is I'm going to blank out the certain things of it, and you'll have, if you want the censored version, you're going to have to go up onto Patreon to listen to that, because
maybe we should do a segment of like out of pocket stories from my time in the Marine Corps.
We'll do that. We'll do a story time with Garrison. Yeah.
Some wild shit.
I bet. I really bet. But big thanks to everyone, and so any last remarks, requests, questions answered, anything like that from you two?
If you haven't, please join our Discord. Enjoy the fun community we got. Join the group builds, and thanks for being a part of our community.
Clint, anything to add?
Yeah, don't buy any rodent kit ever.
That's probably the best thing you could have said right there, brother.
Well then, if you have made it this far, you have been watching and listening to the Micro Machines podcast. We thank you for your time and attention. We hope you enjoyed the episode, and we'll catch you next time. See you later.
Peace.